hands together in front of your heart. Smile. Be aware of your whole body. Be aware of your heart. Be aware of your crown. Smile at your crown. Be aware of your whole body. Time to repeat. Raise your hand high above the crown. To the Supreme God, Divine Father, Divine Mother, we thank you for your priceless blessings, for your divine light, divine love, mercy, inner healing, physical healing. Thank you for the inner strength to practice regularly, for illumination and divine oneness, abundance, prosperity, for success, for spirituality, for divine help, guidance, and divine protection. Slightly lower to our teacher, Master Chawakoksuri, Lord Mahaguruji Mailing, all the great ones, Holy Gurus, Holy Masters, Saints, Archangels, Holy Angels, and spiritual helpers, to our soul and divine self, to the teachers of the Kabbalah, the angels of knowledge and understanding. We thank you all for your priceless blessings. Thank you in full faith. Thank you. Lots of gratitude. Inhale and exhale. Lots of respect. Lots of love. We will do the soul affirmation. Be aware, 12 inches above your head. I am that I am. I am not this body. I am not the emotions. I am not the thoughts. I am not the mind. The mind is only a subtle instrument of the soul. I am the soul. I am a spiritual being of divine intelligence, divine love, divine power. I am connected and one with my higher soul. I am that I am. I am one within me. I am a child of God, connected and rooted to God. I am one with God. I am one with all. Separation is only an illusion. I am one with all. Be still, be aware. Be aware of the presence of all people who joined. Silently say, I salute the divinity in each one of you. Atma Namaste. Atma Namaste. We will do the great invocation. Please raise your hand in a blessing position. Imagine the earth in front of you. Visualize the entire earth. The great invocation from the point of light within the mind of God. Let light stream forth into the minds of every person, every being. Let light descend on earth. From the point of love within the heart of God, let love stream forth into the hearts of every person, every being. Let love descend on earth. May the great messenger of God return to earth. From the center where the will of God is known, let purpose guide the little wills of every person, every being. The purpose which the holy masters know and serve. Let goodwill and the will to do good descend on earth. From the center which we call the human race, let the plan of love and light work out. May it seal the door where evil dwells. Let light, love, and power restore the plan on earth. Let light, love, and power manifest the divine plan of the entire earth. So be it, so be it, so be it. May the power of the one life pour through the group of all true world servers. May the love of the one soul characterize the lives of those who seek to aid the great ones. May we fulfill our part in the one work with self-forgetfulness, harmlessness, and right speech. So be it. You may open your eyes with a sweet smile. Welcome, all of you, those who joined late. Thank you for your continuous participation every week. So we are continuing with the chapter 12, the unknown. We are still continuing. This is I think, the longest chapter in the book. So we discussed about the different aspects of God and what is the how God, these different aspects of God is referred to in different cultures, right? Like the Hindu tradition, the Muslim tradition, the Egyptian tradition, right? We discussed about this, about the different aspects of God. Yeah? So continuing with this, are you joining for the first time in Sindler? Not seeing you. Am I pronouncing it right? Hin Sindler, Benazir?
Yes, sir.
Are you
Did you say something?
Are you joining for the first time?
Yeah, I'm DC group, and today I'm available to join.
Okay. You watch videos otherwise.
Thank you.
Is it? Are you able to hear me? Are you able to hear me?
Yes.
Okay.
It's a little faint. Your voice is little faint than usual.
It's a little faint than usual?
Yes, sir. Try that. Thank you.
Yes?
It seems okay to me, at least.
Okay. Some people are saying it's okay. Let's continue. So we are that is what we are continuing to discuss now. We also talked about the Egyptian tradition, the why they call Amen Ra. Have you seen the movie The Mummy, or say any other Egyptian? This one, they refer to this one as Amen Ra, right? So that's what Master has explained over here. Ra is the sun, or the essence of God in the sun. Okay, so the Ra is the physical sun, or what we call as Surya. Yes, that is Ra. And Amen is the essence of God in the sun, which is called as Savitur. Right, the Gayatri Mantra talks about is the prayer for the solar Parabrahman, right? The God in the essence of God in the solar system. So Amen Ra refers to that Savitur. Okay. So yeah, that's what he's saying. So it's very interesting. And there is also Ra. There is a being called Ra in Egypt. So the Ra is called as the son of God. If you have studied some Egyptian, this one. Yeah. So it's like that. The reason it's called Son of God is because it's from, just like you have the divine spark, and then you have the higher soul and the incarnated soul, right? The higher soul is called the Son of God. Yes, that's why Lord Jesus was called the Son of God, where God refers to the Paramatma, or the divine spark. The Father refers to the divine spark. Yeah. So something like that. Correspondingly, or it's like something corresponding to the same way is in the higher level. Anyway, during his time, the Lord Jesus preached in Aramaic. According to George Lamsa, who translated the Bible based on the Eastern text of the scriptures, the Aramaic term for God is Allah. Interesting, no? Similar to the Islam word for God, which is Allah. There are 99 names of Allah with the different aspects of the universal supreme God. Okay? So in the Muslim tradition, everything is Allah, right? They have only Allah. So how do you refer to different aspects of God? That's why they have the 99 names of Allah. The 99 names of Allah is similar to what we have as the different devas in charge of different or the different beings, right? We have different gods in the Hindu tradition in charge of different things. Yes, like Lord Ganesha, Lord Hanuman, different aspects. Similarly, in the Muslim tradition, if you look at the aspect of, if you understand the aspect of Allah in the 99 names, you will be able to understand which is the aspect of God this is referring to. Like for example, wait a minute. Huh? Like for example, over here he says, just a minute. For example, he says over here, God the power is called Al-Muqtadir. Okay. Have you heard the CD of Master, 99 Names of Allah? Or I think 99 Names of Allah is also available in the YouTube, but it is in Arabic, so you have to kind of relate to this one. So Masters is more Indian, like not Indian, like pronunciation is easier to catch. So this is also mentioned in the existence of God is self-evident, right? So Al-Muqtadir is God the powerful, which is connected with the Shiva aspect. The god Shiva, okay, since the Muslim tradition, they have only, you have to understand that when the humanity started to get too much connected to only the aspects of God and forgot about the God itself, the Para Brahman itself, that is why the teachers introduced a religion, the Muslim religion, where it said that there is only one God, and that God is Allah. Because every God, all the aspects of God comes from Allah or the Supreme God or the Parabrahman, right? So to remind humanity to worship this universal God or Allah, that is why the Muslim religion was introduced. But obviously, if you say like that, then you cannot say, okay, there are different gods, right? So they have to continue with the same teaching. So that is why instead of saying different God, they said it is the different aspects of God. Are you following this? Okay, yes. You can ask question.
Not question, just clarification, sir. It's
Okay.
about 99 names of Allah. In Islam, there are more than 99 names of Allah. In Hadith means Prophet words, Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, words. He said when, especially when he invoked God, and he said, I ask you by your 99 names and the other names that we don't know. So there are more than 99 names of Allah.
Obviously. In the Christian tradition, they have only three, right? Some people worship Mother Mary, which is also another aspect of God, and Lord Jesus, and God also, and the Supreme God, which is called as God, right? So obviously, it is not those three alone. Yeah. So there should be more than, maybe the 99 names is the one which is the most important ones. Okay, God the Love is called as, is known as Al Wadud, right? If you remember, have you done the CD of Masachoa, the prayers and contemplation? Prayers and contemplation. Okay, it's a that CD was released. That's the Twin Hearts in the Islamic version. It's the same Twin Hearts with Saint Francis of Assisi prayer, but it doesn't have It has Amin, and it's a very short one. It's 18 minutes, but it's super powerful because it was recorded at the later stage of his um, when he was in the earth, right? Later stage. So he was already close to becoming a holy master. That's what people say anyway. So yeah, that's what we believe also. So it was really powerful. In fact, all his CDs recorded during that time, the existence of God is self-evident, the prayers and contemplations, the 99 names of Allah are all really powerful. Actually, Master Choa, somebody had shared Master Choa's certificate, the Astara group had shared. Did you see on Facebook? Yeah. So how Master Choa in the initial years, he would subscribe to the school and be a member of the school. Okay, and follow the rules of the school to understand, to learn. Okay. Okay, before he created Arhatic Yoga, or he formulated this Arhatic Yoga. Okay. So the what was I saying? Yeah. So similarly, when he went to the Sufi saints, right? He actually changed his name. So in the CD, his name is Al Wadud Amin. So if you know, Al Wadud is love, the love aspect of God. Okay, the Vishnu aspect of God. So all the messengers of God, all the teachers, all of them come from the heart of God, right? It doesn't mean literally they come from the heart of God. It just means that it is from the heart chakra, or they come from the heart of the planetary Parabrahma, or they belong to that. Or to put it in a better way is they come from the love aspect of God, or they belong to Ray 2 aspect of God. Okay? Allah the loving and God the creative intelligence is called Al Khaliq. Allah the creator. Right? This is the Brahma aspect, which is Allah the Al Khaliq. I don't know. I don't know if I'm pronouncing it right because I don't know Arabic. So anyway, so yeah. But the idea is that in all the cultures, the different aspects of God are there. Okay? You just need to identify. How do you know Al-Wadud? You will not know just like that if you hear to the 99 names of Allah, which is the love aspect of God, right? Yes? So, if Master Choa, that's why he says, the teachings have been pre-digested. It has been pre-digested. You don't even need to digest it. It's already like the cow. Have you seen the cow? It first gobbles everything, and then after that it starts to digest. So that part. And also, have you seen these birds? When they feed their young ones, they actually chew the food and then they put it into the mouth. Have you seen that? Yeah, something like that. The guru has already digested the teachings for us, and then he's like, okay, take, swallow. So that is why it is so easy for us to understand. Otherwise, think about it. To understand what is the love aspect of God, we have to go research about it, right? We have to see what is the different aspects and who is interpreting it right. God knows. So there we end up in different things, and we have to do a research for so many, I don't know, months or years. to be able to get to this, right? Yeah. So now it is like we are just taking it and we are like, oh wow, okay, that's all. And thinking, oh yeah, we know this, we can, sometimes they get big headed, oh, I know this, I know that. But we have to understand that if we didn't put effort, only when we put effort will it truly belong to us. Right now, it is just that to help us, it's for us, it's for our own evolution, to make our evolution faster. That's why the teachers do this. Okay? In the earlier days, it was not like this. In the earlier days, the person has to put complete effort and then the teacher will give something. But the teachings are changing right now. The trend is changing right now. In the future, also the trend will change. So, yeah, that's why we need to be grateful and not get big-headed for the teaching. Yeah. In esoteric Buddhism, the universal supreme God is called the universal Buddha or Adi Buddha. The universal Buddha is differentiated into three Buddhas: the universal Buddha of power, the universal Buddha of love, and the universal Buddha of creative intelligence. Okay, so have you been to any Buddhist monastery? Like the people, have you visited Dharamshala, or somebody in the south? If you have visited Bailakuppe, Kushalnagar, the monastery, or even in Dharamshala, where the Tibetan, the Dalai Lama is, it's in Delhi, near Delhi. So if you go to a Tibetan monastery, there are three statues, right? The central one is the Buddha Sakyamuni. To the right will be the Buddha Kuan Yin, but the Buddha Kuan Yin will be in the male aspect, which is Buddha Avalokiteshvara, okay, the male aspect of the being. And then on the left would be Buddha Padmasambhava. What are they representing? Again, the same thing. The middle one is the intelligence. The power is on the left, the Shiva aspect, and the love is Buddha Avalokiteshvara. More about this we will discuss in the next book, Om Mani Padme Hum. Anyway, so coming back to this. Yeah, now we'll talk about the Egyptian tree of life. Okay, the Egyptian tree of life. The Egyptian civilization is extremely old. In fact, it is really, really old, the Egyptian culture. Part of its inner teachings is the Egyptian tree of life. The Egyptian tree of life predates the Kabbalistic tree of life. The Kabbalistic tree, the Kabbalah itself is really, really old. It's very much old. Much, much before Christianity. Christianity is very recent. Even recent than Christianity is the Muslim religion. Okay? And after that, I think, no, the Buddhist religion became before that. But anyway, so, but the Egyptian culture was much, much before. I think it's mentioned in the existence of God is self-evident in the previous parts, the later parts of the book, where he talks about the different yugas. He mentions about the time of the Egyptian culture. Anyway, that's not important. The concept of man as the inverted tree of life is very ancient and is older than the Egyptian civilization, according to Ra-Un-Nefer Amin, author of Tree of Life meditation system. The first Sephira is Ausar. The second Sephira is Tehuti. The third Sephira is Seker. The fourth Sephira is Mat. The fifth Sephira is Herkuti. The sixth Sephira is Heru. The seventh Sephira is Het Heru. The eighth Sephira is Sebek. The ninth Sephira is Auset. And the 10th Sephira is Get. If you have read the book, you will know. Or if there is an Egyptian, they will know. So you understand that all these teachings are the same right now, because like I said, right? So I was just contemplating, you know, the British ruled almost the entire world. There was a saying, right? The British, the sun will never set on the British Empire. Okay, have you heard that saying? In history, the meaning of that was that the British Empire extended from one part of the globe to the other part of the globe. Okay, I was just contemplating why would such a thing happen, and if you look at that, you know, because of that, English became so popular. It's a universal language. Of course, in Europe, they don't like you to speak English. If you go to France, you have to speak in French. If you speak in English, they will reply you back in French, and they will not reply you in English. So that's because there were two colonized if you read history, right, there were two countries which were mainly colonizing the different lands. One was France, and one was England. Right, both had rivalry from long time. You know, if you have read the French Revolution and all that, it was against the British, right? So anyway, there should be some part. This is my understanding. It should be part of the divine plan that the whole of the world understand English, right? Before the teachings can spread. Why would Masachoa learn English? He did not know English. He actually learned English to teach. Why? He could have told, okay, my language is Tagalog. I will teach in Tagalog. If you want to learn, you learn. I don't care. These are the teachings. If you want to learn it, you learn Tagalog, and then you can understand. So obviously, there is something bigger, because these teachings was supposed to probably spread to the whole of the world. The system is the same. If you look, we have the Kabbalistic tree of life, we have the Egyptian tree of life, and then now the chakral system, and the same 11 chakral system, which is connected to the tree of life. Don't you see there is some coincidence? So obviously, Masachoa had a big job to play, big role to play. So yeah, so pranic healing is an important part of the divine plan, so that people's consciousness can actually become aware. They can become aware of the 11 chakral system, because not many people talk about the 11 chakra system, right? Okay, let's continue. Universal God, solar God, and planetary God. Christian tradition teaches that God is omnipresent. In Buddhism, according to the Heart Sutra, Kung or Sunya, which is the essence of man and everything, is everywhere. The nature of Kung is spiritual oneness. According to inner traditions, another term for the essence of God within the sun and the solar system is the solar God, or in Theosophy, the solar logo, which is called Savitur. The essence of God that is within the planet Earth is called the planetary God, or the planetary logo. Okay, you have to understand this. There is a lot of energy flow, so I'm just trying to. Okay, so it's like this. The soul is not the body, right? Right? The body, okay, the soul extends beyond the body, right? Right? So we are in the solar system. Yes, we are in this solar system, correct? This solar system is like the body of the solar Parabrahman, but it is not the solar Parabrahman. The solar Parabrahman extends, or the solar God, or the solar logo, or the Lord Savitur extends beyond the solar system. To how much? We don't know. That is what is called the ring pass knot of the solar Parabrahman. The solar system is only the body, the physical body. What about the energy body? What about the astral and the mental bodies? Obviously, it would be much bigger than the solar system, right? You understand? Why am I telling you this? Is because some of us assume that, okay, the solar Parabrahman is inside the solar system. No, the solar system, solar Parabrahman, the solar God, the Lord Savitur is inside and also outside the solar system. Just like you, the soul, we, the soul, are inside the body and also outside the body. And most of the soul is outside the body. That should give you a clue. Huh? Take that same understanding to the same other levels, then you will be able to have some realization or some illumination. Okay, the essence of God that is within the planet Earth is called the planetary God or the planetary logo. So the planet Earth is just the physical body of the Earth, of the planetary logo or the planetary God. Okay? It's not the planetary God. The planetary Parabrahman is actually much, much beyond the planet Earth. The essence of the etheric counterpart or the etheric form of the planetary Parabrahman on the Earth is the Lord Sanatha Kumara. Something like the incarnated soul, and the body is the planet Earth. Okay. Just as there is Parabrahman or the universal supreme being, there is also the solar Brahman, the planetary Brahman, and the planetary Brahman. There is also galactic Parabrahman. The galactic Parabrahman is inside the galaxy, what we call as the Milky Way, right? We are in the Milky Way galaxy. So the galactic Parabrahman extends beyond the galaxy. And the reference of the galactic Parabrahman is there in some of our scriptures. Anyway, let's continue. Just as there are the universal Shiva, universal Vishnu, and universal Brahma, there are also solar Shiva, solar Vishnu, solar Brahma, as well as the planetary Shiva, planetary Vishnu, planetary Brahma. The great avatars, Buddhas, Bodhisattvas, prophets, messiahs, Zoroasters, and other great teachers actually come from the heart of the planetary God or the planetary Vishnu. Do you want to understand this, or let's just move on? Because it's a very deep teaching. I don't know how much I can reveal that, because it will go over the head for many people. Okay, let's try something at least. You are the soul, right? And you have the body, you have the etheric body, say, and you have the chakras, yes? And in the chakras, these chakras, like what we are studying, is these chakras have a certain deity or a deva, main deva, who is in charge of this chakra, right? Yes? And the entire chakras is a form. How did these chakras get created? The angels, the lesser angels, or what we call as devas in Hindu tradition, these devas actually join together to create this form. Okay? So there is a deva who is managing the form of the chakras, and all these small devas are part of these chakras. Let's just take a chakra for now. If you go to the body, it will be too much complicated. Let's just focus on the chakra. Yeah? Are you able to follow this much? So there are tiny devas who are making up the chakra, and there is a main deva whom we have been reading about, right? The one, the deity in charge. I told we cannot, the divine name of the deity in charge. Okay, that is also deva, but that's a major deva. That's a bigger, higher deva. Okay, when I say Deva, it just refers to angel. In the Christian tradition, they call it as angel. In Hindu culture, we call it as Deva. Both are one and the same. Is it clear? Okay, so coming back to this, right? You have a chakra made of tiny chakras, right? And there is a being who is having this chakra. That is you. Okay? Imagine, now how do you understand this? Take it to a bigger level. This being is the solar Parabrahman. Okay? And these chakras are planetary Parabrahmans. All these chakras are planetary Parabrahmans. Not planetary, not the planets, but the planetary Parabrahmans. Okay? Like I said, one in charge, right? The whole thing in charge of. So imagine that that's a planetary Parabrahman. Okay? This planetary Parabrahman is made of these tiny sparks of light, which is us. We, our spark, the divine spark, right, form these chakras. We are the units of these chakras. Okay? So, when you say the heart of God, it refers to the heart chakra of the solar God, of the Lord Savitur. Okay? So, these chakras have petals. Okay? Now, one petal is in charge by a holy master. One petal is in charge by a holy master. Okay? If you don't understand, just forget it. The root of the chakra is in charge by a bodhisattva. Okay? So when they say that they come from the heart of God, it refers to the heart chakra of the cosmic being. They are from the Retu aspect, so that's the heart chakra. Okay? Is our planetary Parabrahman the heart chakra? May not be. But anyway, that is another topic altogether, which we will not go into. Did you follow this? Are you able to understand now what is the meaning of from the heart of God? They come from the heart of God. Yeah. Okay. The Kabbalistic cross as spiritual and practical symbols. The Kabbalistic cross is an encyclopedic symbol that can be used for spiritual and practical purposes on a daily basis. It may be worn as a pendant or a ring or as a ring to remind a person how to live his life. Keter, the top of the cross, it is a reminder to practice goodness. It is also a reminder that you are the soul, you are not the body. You are not the thought, you are not the emotion, you are not even the mind. The body is an instrument of the soul. You are actually a soul, the being of divine light, love and power. You are connected and one with your higher soul. You are a child of God, one with God and one with all, regardless of the capacity of the brain to experience the truth. By simply remembering these truths 3 times a day, upon waking up, before lunch and before sleeping, the size of the spiritual root will increase tremendously. What is the advantage of having a bigger spiritual root? It increases the degree of connectedness and oneness with your higher soul. The amount of inner power and inner guidance that you can draw from your higher soul and from the higher beings depends on the size of your spiritual root. The amount of love that you can project to other people is also dependent on its size. In other words, by having a big spiritual root, one can have access to inner power, inner guidance, and inner peace and love. Did I mention in this forum that to practice the soul affirmation every day for some time? Like constantly? No? Or 3 times a day? Okay, just practice soul affirmation 3 times a day. Start with 3 times a day. 7 times will be too much to handle. Okay, for beginners. So just start with 3 times a day, but you have to do it every day. But I also mentioned how to live life of a soul, right? This was discussed, that how you talk, how you think. Yeah. Okay. So this soul affirmation is to, why it is in the morning, afternoon, and the night is just because you have to take care of your responsibilities, right? Your responsibilities, the worldly responsibilities. But always, before you start your worldly responsibilities, we remind ourselves who we are. So that's why you do it in the morning. And by the time you are in the worldly responsibilities, generally there is a tendency that you forget who you are, right? So again, you remind yourself in the afternoon before lunch, remind yourself who you are. And then you continue. And then before you sleep, that is very important. The reason why you do the soul affirmation before you sleep is so that you can easily leave your body without much resistance. When your consciousness is already outside your body, it is easy for you to leave your body. Otherwise, you will go to some place where you will have some kind of what you call as nightmares, right? Some people have remember that, Instead, you can go to higher places when you take your consciousness before you sleep outside your body. Try this for some time. Okay, and let me know. Once you are able to do this, then you can go to 7 times, doing it 7 times a day. That's really powerful. Just be careful with it. If it becomes overwhelming, you can shoot back to 3 times a day. I'm just talking about soul affirmation. People actually don't really realize the power of soul affirmation. You have to practice to understand the power. You have to understand that with repeated practice comes power. If you do one day, then next year another day, then next year another day, that's not consistency. If you have to be consistent, you have to do it every day, just 3 times a day, which is also sometimes so challenging because you keep forgetting, not a practice, right? But you try, do 3 times a day, like Master has mentioned over here. Chokma, the left side of the horizontal bar, we can take a reference with the picture, corresponds to wisdom or intuition. Yeah, you can do Sharanagati before sleeping, but make sure you do exercise because Sharanagati brings a lot of energy down, and also it amplifies other things. Anyway, but Sharanagati is generally done before you do something, right? Before you act, before you do something. So morning, if you do Sharanagati, is better. It's a choice. If you want, you can do. Chokma is a reminder that to gain wisdom in the ordinary sense of the word, one must listen to and learn from elders who have more experience. One must also listen to the teachings of those who are spiritually mature and read books written by great souls. This I would advise. Actually, in the earlier days, I used to read the autobiography. I was very much keen to read the autobiography of different saints. You should try to read the autobiography of different saints. You will see from their perspective the aspect, how they live life. Okay, it's very interesting to read the autobiographies. Like the autobiography of Torko is very different, completely different. After reading autobiography of a yogi of Swami Paramahamsa Yogananda, right? It's very different. It's very practical. At the same time, there is spiritual also. It's very unlike the book of. Then you have the autobiography of Swami Rama. That's also interesting. Then you have the autobiography of Sri Ravi Shankar. You have the autobiography of Jaggi Vasudev. You should try to read these autobiographies, not the biographies. Try to get the autobiography, the one which they have written, because that has their energy. Right? Biography will already be a distortion because it's the perception of the disciple or the chela, right? But here it is directly from the perception of the teacher, the guru. Yeah. So it's a good thing to read. Anyway, in the process of listening, one must be receptive and at the same time exercise discernment or intelligent evaluation. Right? Receptivity doesn't mean you gobble everything up. This person is saying, okay, let me take that. Swallow, glum, everything. No. Master would say, you do not swallow fish, line, hook and sinker. You know, when they fish, they have the line, right? And then at the bottom, there is a hook. To the hook, they will add the sinker. That will attract the fish. It's just a saying. You know, the fish saw that, and instead of swallowing the sinker, it swallowed the hook and the line and everything. Even the fisherman. Anyway, so the saying is to connect to gullibility. When a person is gullible, the person will just swallow everything the person says, another person says, right? Everything. That is not to be done. At the same time, you don't reject, you don't say, get lost. That is not, cannot be, that can never be true. That is also what happens is we prevent another aspect of the truth to be presented to us. We close ourselves to that, right? So then it's easier for us to become gullible or become fanatic. So we open, but we use discernment. After that, we process. To believe or not to believe is our choice. That cannot be forced on us, right? It is very important. In serious matters, one must think carefully before acting. It is very important not just to depend on your rational mind or intellectual faculty, but also to draw in inner guidance. To be able to do this, you need to remember that you are the soul. Practice stillness for a few minutes a day. That is why it is important to practice silence or stillness after the meditation. Okay? The stillness is what is the purpose of the meditation. The steps of the meditation is just to achieve the stillness faster. So different meditations have different techniques in order to get to that stillness. But what we need to do is, that stillness is what we need to, you don't need to do anything. That stillness will automatically bring down whatever energy that is needed. That stillness is required to regulate the mind. Otherwise, an intelligent mind can be very destructive. An intelligent mind can actually confuse you a lot. You know, if you know a teaching, an intelligent mind will create so many things around it, right? And you'll get so confused. Okay, and then looking at the teaching, you will be like, what is this? I'm not able to understand. It's like so confusing. An intelligent mind, that is one drawback or side effect of being intelligent. Okay, but it is important. You have to have an intelligent mind, but that intelligent mind should be actually regulated. Okay, what will regulate the intelligent mind is the higher aspect. What is the higher aspect of the mind? Is the intuition. Okay, so through intuition, we need to be able to regulate the mind. That is why it is important to practice silence or stillness every day, at least for 5 minutes, 2 minutes, 3 minutes, right? How much ever you can. You can just, what you can do best is just chant Om couple of times, 2-3 times, and then be aware of the silence or stillness. That's it. Even that is good enough. If you're not able to meditate, you know, you're very much caught up in the activities of the world, and you cannot sit down and do your exercise, breathing exercise, you know, and all that, and blue triangle, where will you go to do that? So instead, just to practice stillness, if you have been regularly meditating, you can just chant Om mentally, or, you know, verbally or mentally, and then practice silence for a couple of minutes. That is good enough. And then when you are able to do it, go back to your meditation practice. Don't continue to say, okay, I can do this, so I will continue with it. No, you go back to your meditation practice when you are able to do it. Yeah, but that's important. Bina, the right side of the first horizontal bar, right side, means understanding. Using intuition is good, but you must also develop your abstract mental faculty. The first horizontal bar corresponds to the first pair of complementary opposites, balancing intuition with the intellect. It reminds us to use our intuition at the same time to use intellect to validate whether the ideas have been derived from the intuition are correct or not. This is very important because we are not yet completely developed intuition. So when it comes, it can also be just thought forms from the higher mental plane. We do not know whether it is intuition. That is why we need to validate it, not just blindly believe it. Okay, that is my intuition. But let me see, is it work? Okay, we'll try it out. Okay, it seems to work. Let me try it out again and again. Okay, maybe this is it. So let me see, let me follow this. Something like that, right? But after some time, you will just know whether it is intuition or whether it is a thought form. But it takes time, it takes long time. At least I am not reached that level yet. So yeah, it takes a long time. You need to have a very sharp mind to be able to understand that. It takes time. As you progress, you will know. Okay. Dot, the space after the first horizontal bar. Like we are talking about the Kabbalistic tree of life, right? In that. I hope you have the picture of the book. You can just close the book and see the Kabbalistic tree of life. And then it's there in the cover. The cover itself has the picture of the Kabbalistic tree of life. That reminds us that success not only depends on having a good overall plan, but also on working on out details meticulously. This is one of the very important factors to achieve success in life. Okay? So this is important. You may have a bird's eye view, but unless you work out the details, a plan, right? What time, when, how, where, who are all the people. Unless we work out the details, it cannot be executed, right? So that is why it is important. So you meditate, it reminds us. And this is to remind us to practice truthfulness or honesty. In the process, one must do so in a non-injurious way. Truthfulness or honesty must not be used as an excuse to verbally hurt or embarrass other people. Okay, that is important. Chesed, the left side of the second horizontal bar, the below one, right? We have come to the second level. Chesed reminds us to practice the virtue of love and harmlessness. It also reminds us that the key to abundance is to be kind, merciful, and generous. Right? The wife of Vishnu is Lakshmi. So, loving kindness and generosity entitles us to prosperity. Sharing and giving generate prosperity karma. This is the basis for good luck and abundance. Gevura, the right side, solar plexus, the right side of the second horizontal bar. It corresponds to justice, severity, and strength. This is to remind us that in all our dealings with other people, we must be fair and just. This is important. We know that it's not like that all the time, right? But we cannot change others. When it comes to us, we need to follow this. If we know that we are doing something wrong, we need to try to correct ourselves. There is unfair, it's not fair in several levels. It's not just it's everywhere, right? Because people are human beings. They go into favoritism. They are just humans, right? But when it comes to us, we strive to, what will we do if we are given that position? To make sure that we are just and uniform and fair with everyone. Okay, we need to be like that. It is important not to oppress other people. To maintain order, there must be justice. Tolerating oppression or injustice will encourage the emergence of many tyrants. Gevura reminds us that we must have the courage and the strength to stand up and fight for justice and what is right. There must be order in a family, a company, and in society. To implement justice, a certain degree of severity and strength are required. But right now, if somebody demands justice, the person is just put down. The people in power just put them down, right? But this will not be true in future, because the person will become more stronger mentally and spiritually. Anyway, this will change. The second horizontal bar, which corresponds to the second pair of complementary opposites, remind us that it's very important to balance severity with mercy. Too much severity will manifest as cruelty, right? That's why it is opposite sides. You be severe, but you also show mercy. First warning, second warning, third warning. Okay, fire off. Get lost. That's all. No more warnings. Okay, but you have to give warnings in all your dealings, in fact. Too much severity will manifest as cruelty. Leaders who are excessively severe will be considered as tyrants and will be overthrown. At the same time, it's necessary to balance mercy with severity and justice, because too much mercy will manifest as chaos. Right? You're very loving because you don't want to hurt the person, or you don't want to hurt the people. And people continue to go through the same kind of situation, same kind of things. Is not correct. Okay. Tiparet, the space after the second horizontal bar. This is coming to the navel, right? This is to remind us that after meditation, excess chi energy must be gathered to the navel chakra and stored in the secondary navel chakra. This is to increase one's internal power. So you have to understand that our etheric sensitivity, our ability to generate energy, to absorb prana, everything depends on the navel. So if the navel is not strong, even our ability to project or to absorb prana will be lessened. Okay, so if we are in dirty places for some time, we need to make sure we do Kundalini meditation to actually purify our aura. There may be certain circumstances in life where you have to spend time in certain places, right? You don't crib at that time, but later you take care. Yeah. Netzach, the left side of the third horizontal bar. It means power and victory. It's very important to keep the body clean and healthy, especially the spleen chakra. Right? That's why healers especially need to always make sure or check if you have cords to your spleen and cut them. Unless the spleen chakra is in a healthy condition, a person will not have power. Without power, there can be no success. Netzach therefore reminds us to clean and to energize the front and spleen chakra regularly. This will ensure power which is necessary for success. Okay, so you can regularly check your spleen and energize them. But we do that, no? In this one, we should do that. Netzach also reminds us not to be wasteful and to conserve and utilize one's power properly by being one-pointed in achieving one's objective. Victory or success is dependent on single-mindedness and persistency. Code, the right side of the third horizontal bar. Code means glory. It reminds us that since we all make mistakes, we must learn to forgive and forget. A person who does not forgive and forget will be filled with bitterness, anger, hatred, and vindictiveness. The aura of an unforgiving person looks like a cesspool. You know what is a cesspool? It's like the drainage, right? Where it collects, stores water. A cesspool is the drain cover you have. It's like that, right? Where it stores all that waste. That is a cesspool. That's how it looks. You want to be like that? It's a choice. To restore one's inner splendor, it is necessary to forgive, to forget, and to not to be vindictive. The third horizontal bar, corresponding to the third pair of complementary opposites, is balancing victory with glory. Shall we finish this chakras? Yeah. In situations of conflict in general, we must first use the transformative or harmonizing approach to reduce the level of conflict rather than the confrontational approach. The confrontational approach should be used only as a last resort. A great leader must be a man of peace. Aggression should be used only when it is absolutely necessary. Right? Yesod, the space after the third horizontal bar. We are coming down in the Kabbalistic tree of life. Yesod is the foundation corresponding to the sex chakra, the first pair of polar opposites. Right? There are complementary opposites, there are polar opposites. Okay? Polar opposites are like two sides of the same coin. This is to remind us that we must have proper, wholesome attitude towards sex. Sex is good and it is natural. However, the sex drive must be regulated. It is necessary to practice transmutation of sex energy regularly to keep the brain sharp and healthy and to accelerate spiritual development. Right? To avoid puritanical attitude to sex and to remove guilt, especially from the sex chakra, is very important. Until we remove the guilt, the sex energy will not move up. Okay, you have to understand the sex energy is just love on the physical level, on the gross physical level. It's love. So obviously it is not dirty. It's energy of God on the lower levels, which is sex. But sex, the understanding of sex has changed because people always connect sex with the act of sex. But that's just the act. That is not sex, and that's not sex energy. Sex energy is an attractive force. If you look at that, even the elements, right, they mate with each other. That's why they form H2O, right? Two hydrogen atoms mate with polygamy. Yeah. So there is sex energy even over there. So is this energy. We need to come out of this concept of understanding that sex is only, automatically the mind goes only to that thought form. That thought form is really strong. It's not just because it's there in the whole world, the thought form. And also because of it will go away in some time. There is a great influence of the planet which is disintegrating right now. The energy of sex in the world is actually because of that. But anyway, so when we change this attitude, it helps. Malkut, this is the final one, right? The last one. The space after Yesud. Malkut means the physical world. The second pair of polar opposites, which corresponds to spirit and matter, is a reminder to balance spirituality with practicality. It is important to have right attitude towards money. To have lots of money is good, but one must not become a slave to money. One must be a master of money. A person who is a master of money, money will come to him. A person who is a slave of money will have to run behind money. That's why people run behind money. But a person who is a master, money will come to him or her. I didn't mean in that way. Sorry. Not in a way of male and female. But yeah, it's like the person who practices the teachings, right? Money will flow to the person. The person will become. How do you become a master of money? You have to attend the course Kriya Shakti. We practice the principles taught in Kriya Shakti. That will give you the ability to master money. Most of us know these principles, but it's just more structured in the course. Okay? Most of us follow these things. Okay? Like, especially in India, in China, and all that, this is very, very common, right? You save, you donate, yes? Just be very strict with those things. Then you become a master of money and money will flow to you. But there is other things also, energy aspect, which is what you will understand in the course. So yeah, that's a good course to make money. It's not just to make money, but to actually manifest your greatness or manifest it physically. Money is just a resource. One must be responsible enough to use money and wealth properly in order to generate more employment, goods, and services. Money must also be converted into spiritual wealth by giving donations for charitable and spiritual purposes. You have to understand that you have money right now, but later on you will not have the body. Can you use money to help you in your inner life? If you are wise, then probably you will also plan, or we will also plan for that. And if we are serious on the spiritual path, and if we think that if by all these teachings we understand that I am the soul and not the body, this life is just one portion of my whole life, my whole existence, then we will also allot the resources and other things like time, resources, all kinds of resources, also for that aspect, which is the spiritual aspect or the soul aspect. And that has to be part of every month's whatever you allocate for your different things in your life, right? This is for this person's school fees, this is for my whatever the loan I have to give, right? So you have to also allocate some portion for this is for my spiritual practice for later part when I'm able to do the courses, when I want to grow spiritually, when I want to learn new teachings. This will be part of that for my spiritual growth. A person who is serious on the spiritual path will use that. Is it clear? Yeah? Anyway, in Kriya Shakti you will learn in detail how to do this. But yeah, I just give you something so that you understand. Any questions? I'm sure you don't have any questions. Yeah. So shall we end the session? Let's give thanks. Put your hands together. Praise them high above. To the Supreme God, Divine Father, Mother, thank you for your priceless blessings. Thank you for these teachings. Thank you for helping us to implement these teachings in our daily life practically. To our teacher, Master Chokhuk Sri, thank you for the understanding of these teachings. Thank you for the pre-digested teachings. Thank you for the clarity. To Lord Mahaguruji Mailing, all the great ones, holy gurus, holy masters, saints, archangels, holy angels, and spiritual helpers, to the angels of knowledge and understanding, to the teachers of Kabbalah, to our soul and divine self, we thank you all for your priceless blessings. Thank you in full. Lots of gratitude, lots of respect, lots of love. We thank you. Be aware of the presence of all the people who joined. Silently say, Atma Namaste. Thank you for your participation and contribution in this group. We salute you with respect and love. Atma Namaste.